Playing in today's NHL requires more skill than ever. Players are constantly becoming younger and faster seemingly every season. Therefore, many are finding themselves falling through the cracks in a not-so-graceful way. Whether it's poor defensive play, lack of offensive production, or being Swiss cheese, these select few can only get better from here. And with that, here are the top 10 worst players of last season. We all remember the days when Quick was winning Stanley Cups left and right. But yet, after keeping his goals against average under 2.5 for 9 consecutive seasons, it quickly swelled to a 3.26. Granted, the netminder was on the worst team of the regular season, this definitely could have attributed to almost uncharacteristic numbers. Even still, after returning from knee surgery well into the season, the Connecticut native didn't seem the same, and posted a save percentage below .900 for the first time in his career. Not saying he can't have a bounce-back season, just that his last was definitely his worst thus far. Possibly one of the biggest draft busts in the modern era, hasn't lived up to the hype that ultimately precedes being a first-round pick. And last season was no exception, as the forward walked away with only 9 points after playing 46 games. Even though these numbers were shortly before his double hip surgery, it doesn't take away from the fact that the Finnish winger will definitely be leaving Edmonton as a disappointment. When you're openly questioning whether or not you have what it takes to stay in the league, well, it's not exactly the best sign. And for Spooner, who bounced around on 3 different teams last season, has reason to be uncertain, as the forward finished with a measly 9 points in 52 games played. Now you have to wonder, for a guy that easily had over 40 points after playing only 7 more games the season before, if it just boils down to confidence, as Spooner spent the bulk of his career playing for Boston before being traded to the Rangers. I guess only time will tell if the 27-year-old can still redeem himself. Okay, so it wouldn't take a genius to figure out that Johnson would be here. In fact, the defenseman has gained a reputation of being slow, immobile, and offensively inadequate. Besides the obvious red flags like 1 goal in 82 games, or having twice as many giveaways than takeaways, Johnson isn't exactly gifted in the shooting department either, as the blue liner literally walked away with a 1.2 shooting percentage last season. Throw in that -4 stat and you've got yourself one of the worst D-men to ever skate for Pittsburgh. Isn't Rutherford just a genius? After heading to Chicago, Ward has seemingly not been himself on the stat sheet, as the netminder dove from having a .900 plus percentage in the past 4 seasons to dipping back down to a .897 for the first time in 12 seasons. And as you would expect, his goals against average wasn't any better, as Ward recorded his worst since his rookie season, with a 3.67, which is almost a complete goal higher than the season before. Granted, the veteran has only played 33 games for the Hawks, one has to wonder if the goaltender's game was left behind in Raleigh. Days of the enforcers have been long gone in the hockey world, as it's not acceptable anymore just to put up penalty minutes and nothing else. But consider McLeod an anomaly, as he just last season alone amassed 67 in only 38 games played. He did have 1 point though, so I guess that counts for something. Even still, I think we can all agree that players like McLeod no longer serve the NHL we know today. Might have something to do with why he's still a free agent. After having a complete wash of a season during 2017 and 18, Talbot resumed his decline between the pipes last season as well, and finished with the worst numbers of his career thus far. The netminder, after only appearing in 35 games, walked away with a .892 save percentage and a 3.40 goals against average, during which midway through the season, Talbot lost his starter position in Edmonton to Mikko Koskinen, and was only allowed to play 4 games after arriving in Philly as a backup. Well, I'm sure you knew this one was coming, as Phaneuf, more than ever, seems to be only a shell of his former self. And in case you didn't, allow me to enlighten you. Last season, career-wise, was easily the Blue Liners' worst, as he finished with a measly 6 points in 67 games, had 30 giveaways and 6 takeaways, and had an astoundingly bad 1.3 shot percentage. Keep in mind, that was 1 goal in 80 shots. And just in case you need more convincing, he was also scratched more than once and found himself frequently watching games from the press box. Yet another veteran that's been on the decline as of late, as Kesler has only managed to put up 8 points in 60 games played. Now, considering he's a forward, only makes this stat even more troubling. Granted, he was playing before hip surgery, so that was probably a factor. Even still, managing less than a point a game while making well over $6 million has to have its consequences eventually. If Kesler makes it to the roster next season, hopefully for Anaheim, it'll be a better one. So, when your own team's CEO calls you out for your lack of scoring, well, there's usually a reason. The reason being, after playing in 67 games, the German forward failed to register a single goal, instead only registering 11 assists. In his defense, he did try. He tried like 92 different times to be exact, but no such luck. Even though Nicholson eventually apologized to Ryder, his words thus far have rang true. As far as not re-signing the winger, as he currently sits as an unrestricted free agent, I'll just leave you guys to figure out why.